If the fundamentals are weak, your exchange rate will expose you. Bawumia Dwanenum 2016 say oye economic messiah, economic king kong, afi economy na jinisem. Eti Bawumia fele so beke economy no ho asem. I say of late, Bawumia platform bia obinya bia no on say we speak about the economy. Say of fele so beke economy no ho asem because nanum bia ujaya na ajinisem. The practical way of bringing the dollar down, Bawumia has no idea. He has no idea. Bawumia is just a theoretical economist. He doesn't know anything about practicals. Now, Bawumia being an economist is a clear evidence of examination or practices in Ghana schools. So, Bawumia economic certificate to Ghana pro.
But why don't I do it now? And why do I want to? I must have a manifesto. Otherwise, if I do everything now, if I could, what would I do when I come into office?
For a cash more media. And some bay and after set Bawumia in your encounter with the media. Politicians in Ghana are fooling Ghanaians. Nabko for Kramuntimiti Omoka, Okofa journalist, selective journalist, Efia Kumase, Abankran, Mutia Omu hotels, Ma Omu Ebiania Omubidi, Ona Mutiaka, Emma journalist bia 20,000, EBG 40,000 cities. Wabra Nabko for Muntia Omoka, says he can spending only on journalists no. Mubetimi chia Nabko foka, but Monchia, Mudis Kanako high journalists, Echia Omoka. Imagine the number of journalists are now more. A BG 20,000, BG 40,000 cities. Some of the journalists in Ghana are behind the problems in Ghana. Now, back to Bawumia media encounter. When you listen to Bawumia very well in his media encounter, you can confidently say Bawumia is not a smart politician. When you listen to him well, you could see clear Bawumia is not a smart politician. Bawumia could not provide a reasonable answers to the questions. You beside Bawumia about NABCO areas. Okache say he knows nothing about NABCO areas. Now, more the NABCO foka, Munchiai, more the scar comma journalist, so munin free. As of for being so jiska wetri, what much is billions of cedis at the ama journalist. Wabra NABCO for sika pramunchiai. Ye bisa Bawumia say he knows nothing about NABCO areas. I feel na wako him. We what the president Eddie. Now again, ye bisa Bawumia about the closure of banks. MPP Akufo-Addo Bawumia regime, they have collapsed many banks, almost 400 banks. And no collapse. Now, journalists in the opportunity bisa Bawumia almost spend 25 billion and I'm going to close to these banks. Bawumia answer what the maye and say banks no oman collapse no oman close bank bia nimum omu emerge banks no yenyina yo say wa Ghana ha wo ha me wa ha yenyina ye hu hawa anase banks ya omagu na mankrofo titifia omunya adwuma nye so nkrofo sika akem ye wo banks ni bi ho no ma bebi ana omo operate no buildings na ka wa ka nwuram a ehho afu ebi rente building no ena na omo de run omo banks no a collapse ama na efiru aforo nkobo ka omo de no mantimentua Bawumia ka che say banks one collapse no but or emerge banks. Now one female journalist ebisa Bawumia a certain question about and as okoti Bawumia ono agasa ni quote on 2016 say okay this quote, if the fundamentals are weak, your exchange rate will expose you. Ono agasa ni quote, Bawumia could not provide a reasonable answer to this question. Maminu bisa Bawumia Dwanenum 2016 say oye economic messiah, economic king kong, afi economy na jinisem. Eti Bawumia fele so beke economy no ho asem. I say of late Bawumia platform bia obinya bia no on say we speak about the economy. Say of fele so beke economy no ho asem because nanum dwa udwae na ajinisem. The practical way of bringing the dollar down, Bawumia has no idea. He has no idea. The practical way of bringing the dollar down, Bawumia has no idea. Bawumia is just a theoretical economist. He doesn't know anything about practicals.
You will remember this quote: if the fundamentals are weak, the exchange rates will expose you.
National Cathedral, if the design.
Now, Bawumia being an economist is a clear evidence of examination or practices in Ghana schools. Bawumia economic certificate to Ghana pro. Now, journalists the opportunity to say beside the say pharmaceutical doctors complaining say omo allowance omo sankan Bawumia ka kire say onya we o de president eti o de mutie we would the president di muntie de Bawumia kan.
Mr. Vice President, my name is Kojo Sheldon. I represent Kojo Sheldon Studios. The first one is about 322 pharmaceutical doctors on social media right now are planning on suing the health ministry about unpaid, allowances. Now, for someone that has highlighted in your manifesto that when voted into power, you are going to, improve or help improve the condition of services when it comes to conditions of service when it comes to our health people. For right now that you are the vice president, what can you do to help these pharmaceutical, doctors who are, contemplating on suing the Ministry of, Health?
The pharmacists are my very good friends. But you're talking about 322 pharmaceutical doctors who are threatening to sue the Ministry of Health for their allowances. Again, I want to take this one up. This is the first time I'm hearing about this particular issue. I think it is Sheldon who raised it. I'm not aware of it, but I think it's an important issue that we should really resolve. So we'll talk to the Ministry of Health and Finance. Thank you very much.
Now, you be said Bawumia, you say boni petu ekunu in 2020 elections. Ebepem as a vice president, on can be amfa ho. Omo ye bom to kum on 2020 elections no. As a vice president, ma bonten from 2020 till now, on can hwe mfa ho. As if say found as a vice president out Ghana ha na incident we see during election when to me and country am found. Now muntie the response from Bawumia. Just listen it carefully. Asema Bawumia ekai na say logically it makes sense.
For West Africa has also fact-checked and confirmed that 8 people died in the 2020 general elections. We haven't heard the president make a statement on it in terms of justice or anything for that matter. I'm not sure I've heard you make any statement on it as well. And I've spoken to a lot of analysts who say that if you had addressed this very early on in your campaign, maybe you'd have had a greater chance at the presidency than you might have now. If you become, and that's a conversation I've had. I just want to find out from you what you make of this, and if you will address this matter. And
there was a question that 8 people died in the 2020 election, and the president or me, we have not commented on it. I'm not quite sure whether the president has commented or not. But any time we lose a life in any circumstance, it doesn't have to be an election. I think it's really a very sad event when you talk about loss of life for anybody, and so I think that it's very, very a sad occurrence if for people who died during the election, maybe out of conflict or something. So it is something that I hope the authorities, law enforcement authorities, have dealt with or are dealing with. I'm not quite familiar with the full current status of that particular situation, but the people who are responsible should be brought to book to deal with this issue.
Now, Hafiz says Bawumia is running away from the question, and he is now twisting and beating about the bush. Anyway, my name is Nanda, so you can join the conversation, leaving your comment as well.